Caller, you are live on the air. Please tell us your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Michael calling from Indiana.
Michael, welcome.
Okay, I got a couple questions for the rabbi. He can answer them in any direction he want to go with it.
The first real quickly, Paul. Hold on just a second. Real quickly, and this is not just for you, but for everybody else who's watching, we're going to limit this one question per caller because there's so many callers, and we don't want to take up too much time and not share the space, okay? So pick up your most dynamic one, and let's go with that one, okay?
Okay, well, I guess the first one would be, or the one I'm going to ask is concerning Paul's writings where he stated that that the Mashiach will be resurrected on the third day according to the scriptures. Is there any scripture to support that? Because it would seem like even like when you go in the Gospels, the only thing that I think that they have to stand on is the story of Jonah. But when you go into the story of Jonah, it doesn't seem like it's a prophecy or anything. It's just basically a story about a situation that happened with Jonah. So is there anything to kind of support that angle of a Mashiach resurrecting on the third day or whatnot?
Hey, that's a great question. Yeah, very good. All right, go ahead and hang up now. You can tune in for your answer, okay? Thank you, sir. All right, bye-bye. All right, Rabbi, take it away. That's good.
He's asking a fantastic question. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. This is a really important chapter for Christians on the crucifixion and resurrection. And that he was buried and that he rose again on the third day according to the scriptures. That's what it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 4. Okay? Now, what you would expect is the next verse, and Paul does this in other places. He then quotes or misquotes the scriptures, but he quotes something. What is strikingly obvious here is that he quotes nothing, but rather goes in verse 5 that Jesus then appeared to the 12, he appeared to Caiaphas and himself and so on, 500 and so on. That means that's the bang. The bang of 1 Corinthians 15, verse 3 and 4 is according to the scriptures. And then there is no scriptures. Where are those scriptures? Where is a scripture? And it isn't there. And again, you can't argue that it was Paul's style not to quote scriptures because that's exactly not the case. He usually does misquote scriptures, but he's misquoting something. I'm not going through all of it, but it is all over the place. In fact, it is Matthew and Paul that quote the Hebrew Bible more frequently than any other writer in the New Testament. So that's the normal game. But here there's no scriptures, and there isn't because there's no scripture anywhere that says that the Messiah will rise on the third day. Nowhere. And if it said that in the Jewish Bible, I would be in the Church of Holy Sepulchre in about 25 minutes. That's all it would take for me to walk there. We all would. If it said in the Jewish Bible that the Messiah is going to be killed and he's going to be buried, he's going to spend 3 days in the tomb, and on the third day he's going to rise, and it said that, what Paul said, we'd all be in church. We're not crazy. I'm not anti-Christian. There's nothing like that. The only verses that Christians can use is they will point to Hosea chapter 6, and they don't say this anywhere, but if you had a Christian reference Bible, so they'll throw in Hosea 6, and whoever did that had to be praying, please don't look it up. Please don't look it up. Please don't look it up. Because if you look it up in context, you'll see it's talking about the northern tribes. It's talking about Manasseh, that ultimately they were carried away during the first temple. So that's one day. And the second day, they'll be gone. And on the third, they will be restored, which means in the final temple, there'll be the restoration of the northern tribes. I beg you to look up the end of Hosea chapter 5. Just look it up for yourself. I don't care what Bible you use. Use your King James, use your Living Bible, use your Dying Bible, use whatever Bible you want. Okay? So it isn't there. So That's why Paul doesn't quote, because there's nothing even to quote. It doesn't exist. How did he get away with it? The answer is he did. It worked. Christianity is the most popular religion in the world. 1 out of 3 people on this planet believe in one iteration of Christianity or another because people are lazy and don't look it up. And people, I think, presume that I wouldn't lie in such a transparent way. Even if you're not an honest person, you would do something to. This is like naked. Like, I of course it has to say it somewhere. When I speak to Christians, and I spoke to more than a few in my life, they're all shocked to hear this. They're all picking up their Bible and ruffling through the pages. And there are Christians watching me now who are doing exactly that and are trying to figure out how to respond to this. Why didn't you figure it out the first time you read 1 Corinthians 15? Why do you need to hear it from Rabbi Tovia Singer and then start looking up commentaries on the Christian Bible to come up with an answer? Why didn't you look it up the first time? I don't look at it personally, but he got away with it. This is not the only place where fake verses are quoted that are phantom verses that exist nowhere. He got away with it because people are, please don't be angry. People are lazy. I have to conclude that people just don't read the context. People just don't look it up for themselves. When they look it up, they look at one verse. They don't look it up in context. That's just the way it is. Why? I don't know. I don't know why devout Christians, would read Harry Potter from beginning to end and not read the book of Hosea from beginning to end. I mean, thoroughly engrossed in it. I'm not saying Christians read Harry, just flow with it, okay? The Hardy Boys, whatever. Okay? It's a problem. It's a big problem. So I'm here to show, I am here to make what is complicated very simple, and to show you what you thought was simple is really quite complicated. Thank you for your question.